Okay, hi. I'm Kronos von Guild Wars Info, and I'm here on the ArenaNet FanDay for Guild Wars 2. My camera partner is DBC from War Tower. We mixed our interview for bringing information to the community. And now we have here three of the developers of Guild Wars 2. And we hope now that they will answer us some questions. Okay, so my first question is direct from our boards. How intelligent our foes will be? Will they interact together like normal players? So putting some firewall on the button and shoot arrows through the firewall, or is this only something players will do?
Hey, who wants it? I guess I can answer that a little bit. Sure. I mean, the foes will behave somewhat intelligently. It's our goal that the foes will, not just stand around for you to attack. The level that they'll work together depends obviously on the type of enemy that they are, but in some cases they can be extremely intelligent. We've got foes where one of them will get killed and drop their weapon on the ground, and another one who didn't have that weapon will come over, pick it up, and start using it. So we're trying to get them to work together. I don't know if you'll see them do it in exactly the same way as the players, because we do want to still maintain that level of uniqueness about the player profession combinations. But they're not going to be dumb. Does that seem pretty good?
Yeah, I like it.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. The game is called Guild Wars, but we don't have seen any much about the guild system. So, can you tell us about?
There will be a guild system in Guild Wars 2. It's going to be really good. It's going to have more functionality and options and cool things for your guild to do than you've probably seen in any game before. But we're going to reveal details about that guild system more as we go forward. It's not something we're ready to talk about right now.
The size of the weapons depends this on the race. Has an Asura with the same sword as a sword by an Asura the same size like the same sword by a Norn or a human or a Char?
Right now our weapons scale a little bit in size for the race so that they'll be proportionate to what they want. You'll still be able to get the feeling of being a little guy with a big weapon, but it's not going to be as big as it was if you were an Asura than if a Norn was carrying it.
So one question, what is our community having a hot discussion about this, is maybe a warrior with a bow a same as effective like an ranger with a bow, or is an elementalist in near combat a same effective like a warrior? So have every class when it's in direct concurrence to another class is the same effective?
I'd say that, effective is a funny way to put it, but I definitely say that they play differently. If you're playing a ranger with a bow, it's going to be a lot different than a warrior with a bow, because a warrior is going to be focused more on dealing like straight damage, whereas a ranger with a bow is going to be a little bit more maneuverable, probably because, well, you think of it as more being a ranger's weapon, but like we've even got it where like a thief can use a short bow, and a thief with a short bow plays very different than an elementalist or a warrior. He's dropping like he's got a bow teleport that he uses. He's also got another one where he drops like a poison sachet, and it's each one of them plays differently, even though they are using a similar weapon. So they'll each be effective, but they'll be effective in their own unique class-based way.
but they will concurrate together. So, when they fight together, they both can win when they're fighting.
Yeah.
One question: how many players can play for one world? So, or how much players can live on one world?
So we're still finalizing exactly how many players can live on a specific world or server. We know that in World versus World PvP, it is your server or your world matched up against 2 other servers. And so the size of those servers needs to be big enough that you can have these epic large-scale battles in World versus World PvP. Also, because of the way our event system works, we want to have a lot of people in a world. So when you're out there exploring, you're running into other players and you always have a lot of people to play with. So we want to make sure that there's a lot of people around in the world for you to play with. So the servers will be large enough to allow for that. We just don't know an exact population cap yet, but it'll be very large.
One question about slots. Will we have enough for all classes, all races we want to play, or is this the same problem like in Guild Wars that we not have enough slots for all characters we want to play?
That's another one that we still haven't finalized, but we'll have when we get real close to the game releasing. We'll start revealing details like that about the number of character slots. It's important to us to give people enough character slots that they can feel like they can experiment and try different characters in the game. So that is something that we're definitely looking into and trying to find the right number that's good for us.
Okay, then from my side, I'm finished. I thank you. And now I will give the interview part to DBC and take his camera for filming.
It came to my understanding that ArenaNet uses the Umbra technology to phase out stuff that's not in the screen. So to realize mass scale battles as in World versus World. How does it work with effects on the ground, particle effects from any kinds of skills? They tend to overload. We were able to play the game today, and we were told so as soon as this character raises his sword in the dungeon, he starts a self-heal. And we weren't able to see actually that he was doing a self-heal because there was a firewall and the Guardian was protecting with his shields, and there wasn't simple a way to see this. How will you work around that?
Well, so I guess there's 2 questions there, which is how does Umbra play into all of that, and then how are we going to handle things like skills that you need to see? So the Umbra system, all of that's still under development, and how all of that works is stuff that we're going to figure out more as we get close to revealing information about World versus World. But it's important to us to have the World versus World PvP be a seamless experience, that you can be out there and have a ton of players running around in this map and not have a ton of lag, and you can see the important stuff that you need to see towards combat and not miss anything that you would need to know. And what all of that means is still stuff that we're still trying to figure out. But that is our goal with how we would take advantage of that system. As for enemies telegraphing their skills, it's important that they not do subtle things. Like the one that you saw today, the warrior kind of raises a sword in the air a little bit. And that's an important skill to interrupt, so we need to telegraph that better and have more in there that shows to you that that's important. So when we do need to show that stuff, we're going to give large visual cues to give you an idea that you need to do things to stop it. Otherwise, we don't need to worry about that. So it just depends on how powerful it is, depends on the kind of cue that we need to give for it.
Guild Wars 2 lives from dynamic events, so and it's the first time you have actually crafting professions inside Guild Wars 2. We had a discussion on our bulletin boards that you wouldn't really need mobs outside of certain events, but then our best guess would be the world would be looking really sterile and underpopulated. So how do you work with populating the world, the environment?
Just the world in general?
The mobs in the world.
We try to make sure that we spawn areas somewhat intelligently so that you see things moving around and acting the way you would expect them to in their setting. So if you go into an ogre village, you'll see them run around and do things that you would expect them to do even if players aren't there. You see them feeding their pets or walking around into and out of their houses. In a town, you'll see groups of people talking to each other, and I think that having that type of interaction happening just as much as having a large quantity of people makes a world feel full and feel alive. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. There's tailoring and there's leatherworking as a crafting profession, but there's no such thing as skinning animals for leather. So where does this leather come from?
Rather than having skinning as a separate gathering profession, you're going to get them as loot drops off of things. Is that okay?
From human.
From creatures that you kill. So they'll automatically be handed out to players without that being its own profession.
So to skill your profession, you wouldn't actually have to find a certain mob outside of an event. So you can actually level all the professions whilst doing events.
Yeah, it should be the goal that you can run around and do the gathering that you need to do while you're playing, while you're advancing your character. And there will also be some ways that you can go and gather without necessarily needing to focus on combat. We should be able to appeal to both of those types of people.
As Guild Wars 2 FanDay is drawing to a close, I guess everyone has given you feedback, you become feedback. So tell us, what's your feedback about this day as a whole? Let's give everyone the try.
Well, it's been really exciting, I think, for me, because I've been to a number of the shows, but I've never been present at the studio when we've had, like the fans come kind of into our home base, and it definitely feels a lot different. It's a lot more personal and a lot more exciting, because rather than being at the show and being like, well, I just have this to show you, I can say, yeah, but look at the wall. Look at you asked me where we get our inspiration. Here, meet this guy. It's very exciting to have everybody gathered around here, where the source of our inspiration and creativity really is. It's been a lot of fun for me. I look forward to doing it again.
These days like this are just it's what we live for in this industry. We go 3 or 4 months or 6 months where we work on this game and no one sees it, and we don't get a chance to show it to anybody, and we're not allowed to talk to anybody about it because we're under contract to keep everything under wraps and keep it very quiet. And then you guys come in here and you get a chance to play the game that we've been working on so hard, and you get a chance to enjoy it, and we get a chance to talk to you about it. And all of you are so passionate and so excited about the game that it just carries over to us. And so a day like this FanDay, I guarantee you for the next 2 months, everybody in this office is going to be more excited about working on the game. They're going to be happier to come to work. They're going to feel better about what they're doing. And it's a direct result of you guys coming here. And that means an awful lot to us. And I hope that, having a chance to bring you here means a lot to you guys too. But it's, for us as a company, it's not just us making a game. It's us and our fans together making the game that we all really want to play. And we read all of your forums all the time, looking for feedback and suggestions and ideas. And if you guys say, we don't like the looks of characters in the cinematics, so we saw that comment, and now we're going and we're fixing the look of characters in cinematics, and we're trying to make them look more believable and give them better facial expressions and to give them better animations. And that's something over later this year we're going to be developing more of that. We look for those comments from you guys so that all of us can make a better game that we would all want to play. Because at the end of the day, we're gamers, and you guys are gamers, and we're all looking for the same thing. And so having the opportunity to bring you here and talk about the game is just awesome for us. And I know it's something that means a lot to everybody here. So we appreciate having you here. It's great.
And Colin expressed my feelings so well. All I can do is really try to expand upon them. But working on this game, we're really trying to make a game that we love to play, and we play it all the time and give each other feedback on the different areas that we're working on. But having someone who's not living in this world all day play the game and come and look at it and give feedback, good and bad, and just help us make something that's better, that's amazing. Like, I love all the positive energy. I love how much it makes me think about Guild Wars 1, and I want to put all of that lore from Guild Wars 1 into this game, and just all of the love that people have into this game. It's really great.
Seeing you three talking that enthusiastically about the game, I think I like what I'm seeing in you guys, but it brings me to another question. So from the stuff you are allowed to talk about, what's your favorite part about Guild Wars 2? I mean, if you play it all the time, you must have something, and even it's just a rusty windmill on a hilltop where you say, I like this spot, I worked on this spot hard, it's fucking awesome. Sorry for the word. We will not beep this out. So, yeah, what's your most favorite part about Guild Wars 2?
My favorite part of Guild Wars 2 is... My favorite part of Guild Wars 2 is not any one particular piece of content. For me, it's the dynamic nature of being able to play with other people. I mean, during the day when we're doing testing, when we're, going in to look at various aspects of the game that we're actively developing, you never know who you're going to bump into, and it's kind of exciting to be in game and be testing something and have someone else wander in and then start playing it with you, and then be like, hey, they're wandering out. All right, I'll go with them. I have a little bit of time, and it's very easy to get caught up even while we're actively working on the game in that dynamic feeling of community that the event system and the way that our world versus world is set up, and it's just I don't know. That's my favorite part, is that I no longer feel like I need to organize a group to do a thing. I can always find people to play with, and that, I think, is the thing that brings me really into the world of Guild Wars 2, is finding people. It's great.
I think my favorite part of the game is the little details. Because we talk a lot all the time about the dynamic events and about personal story and about combat and about dungeons and about PvP and the things that we're trying to innovate in, and the fans hear a lot about that stuff, but I play the game all day every day, and I'm playing stuff that people work on and giving them feedback on it, and it's amazing to me every day that I play the game and play something that someone on our content design team builds. They find these amazing ways to tuck in these tiny little details into all the stuff that they build. And it could be something as interesting as you come over a hill and there's a rabbit that sees you and it runs away from you. Or there's a lady at a picnic table and there's a bear who's chasing, who's trying to ruin her picnic. And if you manage to drive the bear off, she stands up and says thank you. Kim had a part of her one of the maps that she's working on right now, where I came over a hill and there were these sheep that were in kind of the side of a field, and they just looked so much like they belonged there. And it's one of those things where I feel a lot of joy when I see something in the world that looks like it belongs, and it's a little detail that really isn't that important. Like, you're never going to hunt the sheep. People are going to go play events, but when you walk past and you see this area, it feels like a real place in a real world, and it just feels like it belongs. And those little details like that are the things that make Guild Wars 2 such a great game to me. It's because we're trying to, we got all the big details right with all the big systems, but if you don't have the little underlying details that make it feel like a world, none of that stuff matters. And I think our content design team and the QA team that helps us develop that stuff has done a fantastic job in getting all of these little details in there. So every time you play the game, you're always finding some little thing that's new that makes it just really special. So that's definitely it for me.
I think one of my favorite things probably is how the event system allows you to play so freely with other people. Whenever we play in large groups, it's just so easy to run across someone. You're both pulled to this area, you do something together, and then for the rest of the map, you're running around and playing together. It's not a formal party, and it's just so easy. It's like you always end up finding some new person to play with and having a lot of fun. And if you don't mind me throwing in a quick second, the other favorite thing is the die system and character customization. Our die system is so good. I'm the type of person who spends hours customizing my character in any game I play, and I don't think I've ever spent as much time playing with a die system and playing with character creation and just for fun as I have in this game.
Okay, but if we're doing second things, if we get to say more than one, then it's only fair. I actually one of my favorite things is I do like that the professions have different skills with the different weapons. Like that was seriously, that was one of the things that I got really excited about, was because, I love using bows. I'm a ranged combat guy, and so the fact that I wasn't tied to being like a ranger, I was like, oh man, now I can be like a warrior badass. And when they gave me the short bow for the thief, I was like, yes! I love that they do different things, because it means, like I pick up this thing and it does one thing unless I become someone else, and now it does something else totally different. No, that the second thing.
What I like about what you just said is that they streamlined the attributes where you can spend points, so that you actually can use a bow and a dagger, and you don't disadvantage yourself by spreading too much points in a talent you wouldn't usually use. So today was a huge news day for Guild Wars 2. The Twitter feeds exploded. There were huge articles about underwater fighting, about dungeons, about all the stuff we were shown today. The press releases are out, the articles are out, you already read them, I guess. So, to be just as ungrateful as I am, sitting right here, I'm asking you guys, when will we hear from ArenaNet the next time?
Well, the next scheduled show that we will be at, bringing more content for people to check out, is San Diego Comic-Con, which I believe is either the third or fourth weekend in July down in San Diego. So that's the next major show that we'll be at. Then after that, we're going to be at Gamescom in Germany. And we have a whole lot of surprises in store for all of you in Germany. I can guarantee you that. And we have a lot of shows coming up after that too. But those, San Diego Comic-Con, Gamescom in Germany, and then PAX, which is kind of our home turf here in Seattle, the week after Gamescom. Those are the next big three shows for us. And since we're coming up on the game convention season, a lot of the stuff that we're doing is going to end up tying right around those conventions. So there's probably not going to be a ton of information between now and San Diego Comic-Con, but there will be more information going forward, and as we get closer to those shows, there's going to be a ton of new information coming out from us.
Well, I want to thank you personally for having us here. Kronos thanks you, I guess, as well. He's nodding enthusiastically. So thank you very much for having us here. It was a blast. Thank you in the name of the community, which were informed the whole day about what we were doing here. Thank you. And this was Guild Wars 2 FanDay here at the ArenaNet headquarters in Bellevue, Washington, in the USA. Kronos from Online World and DBC from Water the East signing off. Wish you a good night. Thank you. Goodbye.